What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and welcome back for another episode of Poker Hand. Today we're going to be breaking down a hand I played at the Lodge versus Jungleman Dan, where I end up with a straight flush. Let's go ahead and jump into the action.
It's expensive if you lose. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Real hand for Jungle in this one. 3 bets his buddy Douglas.
7K.
So 2 and 7.
Yes.
Thank you.
Straddle, raise. 2 folds. 3 folds.
We remain nits.
How much we got here, Jungle?
I think it's, at the end it's going to be us. What do you think?
It is unlikely, but probable. At the same
I think
time.
it'll be us.
I don't think Doug would fold
bet
under
nitty?
normal circumstances, and I don't think he'll fold under the
We're
nit game
nits, so
either.
it's just
We're not.
Good read.
Maybe two.
I'm just getting bad cards. Like,
I'm just playing like
can't
an
do
asshole.
anything.
Our hand begins playing 200, 400 with an $800 straddle and a $400 ante. Just your run-of-the-mill casual game happening on a weekend. We're also playing the nit game here, or the squid game, or stand-up game. Essentially, the last player to win a pot will have to pay a bounty out of the rest of the table. I forget what it was here, frankly, because I don't pay attention to that. I just make sure I don't lose, because that would be embarrassing and a real shot to my manhood. In fact, since I've gotten to the Lodge, I've never lost a stand-up game on the stream, and I've probably played 100 or 150 of them. But I have played some hands pretty questionable and already sit down.
All right, you know what?
Wow!
Nice queen.
Anyway, back to the action. I open up 7-5 of clubs. With an ante on board, this might be a reasonable open, but certainly still on the loose side. Probably supposed to mainly muck this one in early position when you're playing with a lot of people. Anyway, we open it up to 2K. Jungleman Dan looks down at the ladies, makes it $7,000 to go. I think every now and then you do want to flat the queens. I actually played a really interesting hand against Jungle where I flatted queens in this exact spot, and he ended up flopping a set, but I didn't really lose much money because I flatted. But, not to be results-oriented about it. Back to the hand. With pocket queens here, mainly do want a 3-bet, and he makes it $7,000 to go. Action folds to Terrace, who looks down at 10-7 of hearts, and he thinks it over. And we all know Terrace likes to play big pots with the 10-7 of hearts.
Terrace might stuff it on him, and he does. All in, and that's going to shut it down. Brad cannot continue when Terrace goes all in here.
Action folds back around to me, and I think typically speaking, if you were playing in a normal game, you would just fold this one. But with the added incentive to try and not be the last person standing, it does make sense to widen up your range here pre-flop. How wide? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm not going to let this one go because I need to try and defend my honor. So I do make the call, and let's take a flop.
Ooh, fun board.
Boiling too much shit.
If it's a split pod,
Double
then
gut shot
the
for
button
Doug.
sticks for both.
Queen's still feeling pretty good about their hand.
Do we have a raise or a flat call here?
I see your ship for a second, man. You move your hand's in the way.
Jungle's doing like the claw right now. If I asked Doug, he'd be like, it's a mix.
Yeah.
The flop is one with a lot of playability for the 7-5 of clubs. 9-6 tray rainbow, making a straight on either side. Little sneaky double gutter. This is a fun flop to play with the suited one gapper. And if you like playing fun flops, come on down to the Lodge. We've got some big streams coming up. I know we had our big launch week, and then we've had more heads up and some lower stakes stuff. But we're going to be running a few weekends of high stakes games. The first weekend will be the second to last weekend of April. I believe it's the 20th to the 22nd or 21st to the 23rd. Brad Owen and Andrew Nemi will be stopping by to play on the stream. Should be a fun one. The stakes will be about 5,100. Then the 2 weekends after that, we're looking to play some really big games. We're going to be playing some 200, 400 on the 28th to 30th. And the same stakes again on the 5th through the 7th of May. We're debating maybe even throwing a high stakes PLO stream in there on one of those days. I know the viewers don't really like PLO, but, it's gambling. Maybe some people want to come play it. If you want to play any of these games, hit up Skull Mike, or you can also message me if you're a high stakes player looking to play in the big games. Anyway, back to the action. 9-6-3 rainbow. This is a very good flop here for queens, although he doesn't realize how much equity I'm going to have with my 7-5 suited. I check over the jungle. He goes ahead and fires out 1/3 pot. This seems like a fairly standard size to bet on the flop. You're going to fold out a lot of my air and lets you get some value from some weaker holdings. When Jungle bets, I can't see his stack, so I ask to see his chips. And now it's a little bit weird of a spot. So if I check raise the flop and he jams, it's a pretty terrible spot for 7-5. I think you're probably still going to have to raise every now and then. But I do think calling is a little bit better. It's a bit better to raise with a hand like 10-8 of spades, where if he just 3-bets you on the flop, you can let it go. When you have these hands with lots of equities, essentially open-enders on rainbow boards, raise folding them is not what you want to see. If Jungle was a little bit deeper, I wouldn't mind raising the flop, because if he 3-bets, I can still continue. But on this stack size, I probably mainly called, threw in a raise every now and then based on some techniques I use to randomize. But I go ahead and make the call, and let's take a turn.
Backdoor flush draw available now.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't
Have
know
as much as you want.
It's Jungle about to get jammed on. What do you think?
It's like one bottle with a dome.
You brought a
first.
lot of wine bottles, eh?
I figured you guys would like it, and I figured it'd be flowing.
Thank you.
Do it, Doug.
Do it.
I think he will, is my guess.
That's just an investment.
Yeah, I think Jungle's
much
capable
wine.
of having hands much worse than queens. He can just be trying to win the nit game, so may as well semi-bluff with a hand this good.
Fold equity available. Double
Yep.
gutter plus flush draw.
Cardinals rules.
7 high out of position.
All in.
Yeah.
How much?
It's your stack.
The turn comes an even spicier card, the 6 of clubs. So now I have an open-ender and a flush draw and a straight flush draw on the 8 of clubs. And I check it once again over to the Jungleman. Now with queens, you're actually pretty excited about this card. There aren't too many 6s in my range, so you can bet here pretty aggressively. The way you're going to do this is with your overpairs, you're mainly going to bet. Every now and then you're going to trap if you have a hand like pocket 9 or aces with a club. But most of your value range is going to keep betting here. And then you can bluff with hands like ace queen or king queen or king jack with a club. Now, some of those hands aren't going to be 3-betting too much here in the under the gun versus under the gun +1 situation. However, plenty of overcards that want to barrel. And you can even mix in some hands like just ace king if you want to throw a few more bluffs in there. Jungle can also have hands like 8-7 suited. Those hands don't make quite as great bluffs on the turn because you block a lot of the hands you want for me to fold. However, they're definitely still going to bet quite often because my range is just not doing that well on this card. I really can't have pocket 6s anymore. I don't have a 6 very often. And if he has a hand like kings, I can't hit a 2-pair hand with something like jack 9. I'm going to have to hit another 9 in order to win the pot. Anyway, Jungle does go ahead and bet about 2/3 pot or so here on the turn. Definitely the standard size that you're going to want to make. Back over to me, facing this bet of 21,500 into a pot that was about 26,000 before the bet. This is actually a little over 2/3 pot. This is closer to 80% pot. I think you really only have one option, and it's to check raise all in. It sucks. It's a shitty situation. Your hand looks like a bluff. But there are a couple things to think about. So if you do turn a 6, you're going to want to check raise all in here sometimes. Let's say I just had 7-6 of spades or 7-6 of hearts. That hand actually does like check raising all in as well to try and deny equity as well as get value from those overpairs. I could also have a hand like ace-6 suited or maybe 6-5 suited, maybe 6-4 suited. There's definitely some 6 in the mix. Didn't mean to rhyme there. If I have a hand like a full house, I'm definitely not going to check raise. I want to keep my opponent in there. If Jungleman is bluffing or he has clubs, by all means, keep firing, bud. So in this situation, we have a very small check raise range of hands that turned trips, and then some bluffs like 7-5 of clubs, 7-8 of clubs, 10-7 of clubs. These kinds of hands might all like to check raise all in as well. If you balance it out like that and you have these combo draws with your value range, well, your opponent can bet call their overpair still and put you on a draw, which is fine, and it's certainly possible to be over bluffing here. However, at the same time, when you do have value, you basically just stack them because you're so far ahead, and when you are bluffing, you have a good chance to win. Anyway, after trying to figure out what Jungle had on the flop, I know his stack size. I decided to go ahead and put him all in, to which Jungle has one important question.
How much?
It's your stack.
Always good to know how much you're playing for, but when your stack looks like this and their stat looks like that, chances are it's going to be for your stack. Anyway, after letting him know what the situation is financially, he has a pretty easy decision here, so you really don't want to have a club just in case I'm bluff check raising all in with something like ace queen of clubs, although that's not too likely. It's better in general in these situations to unblock the club hands. Jungle has a spade and a heart, which makes this one of his better overpairs to call. In theory, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few overpairs fold here, but given that we're playing the Nick game and given that he doesn't have a club, his hand is a crystal clear call, which he does make, and let's see if I can get there. I've got a pretty good feeling about this one because I'm putting it on YouTube.
How much?
It's your stack.
All of it.
How many times?
Pretty much a snap call here.
How much? It's your stack.
You want to do more?
More than
Do it
twice?
one time, man. Come on.
Wait.
Let's do it 3
The
times.
viewers at home want to see it one time.
You guys just have to agree to it.
It's probably going to be a
Twice
split.
is good. Okay. let me
2
know when you're ready.
times. $185,000 in the middle.
All right, do it twice.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
shit.
Dougie.
Oh, we're straight
That
That
is
is
a
a
straight
straight
flush.
flush.
That is a
That
straight
is a
flush.
It's good to win the first one.
Straight. That's just straight.
Just a regular straight. How boring.
Straight flush on the first run, just a straight in the second run. We're definitely going with straight flush in the thumbnail. It's good to hit big hands versus overpairs. It's going to do it here for us today at Poker Hands. If you want to play on the stream, make sure to hit up Skull Mike at Skull Mike Poker or at Skull Mike. We'll put his handle here below on the screen. We're going to have some big games going. Seats are filling up, guys, so reach out if you're looking to play. All right, that's going to be it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow? Tomorrow.